Hi, WOW followers, Michelle Andrushak here, and I am super stoked. I'm going to put on my full on Australian accent and say I'm stoked to be here with top selling Amazon author, public speaker, international sales expert, and trainer, Jackie Rainforth today. Look, I've even got the book, and you should see it. Like it's a mess because I've totally mocked it up with all her great tips about what's selling in 2020, 2021, 2022 looks like and how different it is from what we used to do. So, Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Jackie, you are one of the most successful women I know, which is why I asked you to join me in the Secrets of Business Success
Thank
interview.
you. Oh,
So let's start with, who is Jackie Rainforth?
who is Jackie? Well, Jackie's a mom and a wife, a grandma. I just became a grandma a couple of
Oh,
weeks ago. Yeah, that I get it now. I get the big grandma club. I get it. What else am I? I'm an entrepreneur and all that other stuff you said. But I'm kind of a goof, to be honest. You know, um, I like to have fun. I don't know. I really believe in women. That's a big thing for me. I think that there are still roadblocks that we face, whether it's in the corporate or the entrepreneurial world. Hey, life. Yeah. So I guess that's who I am. Oh, I'm a fur baby mom too. I got two dogs. And
oh, yeah, we love our fur babies.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Jackie, what was it that made you start in your sales career? Like, why choose sales? Of all things, why choose sales?
Well, way back when I had a job, oh my gosh, working in the bank. I was an intern at the bank when I was going to university, and Lucy was there. Oh my gosh, I remember her to this day because I was terrified of her. I'm always like la da 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 da. And I had to balance every night, and I wasn't very good at it, so I had to spend hours after work trying to balance, and I hated it. And so I knew banking was not my career choice. And then my dad got me this job working at Cummins Diesel. It's a trucking company. So I did that for a while and realized that yeah, I wasn't. It was a little ho humdrum for me. I was in accounts receivable, so very
Mm,
important life lesson, mind you. It's always good to know that you have to stay on top of your money. Look at all those money things in my world, right? And then I started working for a company, and the boss, George, love George. He said, you'd be really good in sales. Your personality. We should get you out in sales. And that's kind of what started me on the path. I was horrible, by the way. Like I was really, really bad. But I quickly turned that around, and those are some of the principles that I use for my training, confidence, and just some of the processes and things. And then I started training for selling. Back in 2016, I had a near-death scuba diving incident and 3 days clinging to life down in Cozumel, Mexico. I had crossed
it's
over.
in the book,
It's
people.
in the book.
You need
Yeah,
to get the
yeah.
book.
It's a story, that's for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I was 45 feet under the water. I found out later that my capillaries in my lungs had ruptured and filled with fluid, and my heart stopped. I crossed over. I saw the light. I received a message. And the message was, Jackie, you haven't been listening to the signs and signals. Oh, did I tell you I was stubborn? Yeah, the first part. And, you've been blessed with many gifts and talents. You need to get out there and help people feel more confident and successful in business and in life. You have a new path ahead. And I mean, that's kind of what started it.
That's definitely a message that you need to listen to.
Oh yeah, that was a message I needed to listen to for sure. Yeah, sometimes we don't listen to those messages, and I think it's really important to pay attention because, the universe kind of whispers in your ear, then they tap you on the shoulder, and then they just bonk you on the head. And being bonked on the head isn't a good one.
Mm-mm. No, no,
Yeah,
no. And
yeah.
now as CEO of Rainmakers Business Solutions, like the proverbial rainmaker you're known as. Is
Well,
it?
yeah, I have to thank the boys at Kohler. I used to, Kohler, the high-end bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for them, and they gave me that nickname years ago, the Rainmaker. So I didn't even know what it was at first. I'm like, huh? But I get it now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not physical rain, it's rain.
Ash.
It's
Yeah.
rain. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So,
Yeah.
what made you go from working from somebody else in sales to starting Rainmaker Business Solutions and, embracing that purpose and that message?
Well, it was the scuba diving
Mm-hmm.
incident. It really was. I realized that, everything changes. Everything changes. You've got a higher sense of spirituality. You've got at least I did, a much higher sense of servitude to help others. And, I knew that because one of the things that I didn't say, and I don't think I put it in the book, I'm not sure, was you beg for your life. Like you're there going, please, I promise, I don't want to go. And that still gets me choked up. Um, because the thought of leaving your family, your husband,
Mm-hmm.
your kids, it's pretty terrifying when it happens. And so I was not going to mess up again. I was going to make sure that I would do the right thing. And so that's what I did. I knew immediately. I looked back on my career, which was after something like that, my personal success became very hollow. But I looked back and I thought, what did I enjoy doing most? And it was helping other people, get successful in selling. And so that's what I did. Yeah.
Amazing. And that's what you continue to do throughout North America, being profiled on podcasts, magazines. And I
Yeah.
know you just had a big win on a magazine profile. Would you share a little bit about that?
I did. Oh, thank you. It was Selling Power magazine. Gerhardt, he had interviewed me. They're the biggest B2B sales publication in the US, and they reached out, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that was huge for me. It really was, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Not too many people I know get that kind of accolade. So that's huge, Jackie. Huge.
Oh,
Soak it in. Soak it in.
thanks. Thank you.
So, on your road to business success,
Hmm.
you've had many successes, like being profiled in the magazine. Yeah,
I've also
exactly.
got a few of those, just
So
saying.
it's not necessarily a straight trajectory up,
No, no,
but
no.
what has been overall what you would say your biggest success in business and sales?
I think, oh, that easy. I used to own a sales agency. So I was the first, I think, well, I was one of the few. I don't know. I was the first in Alberta, maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, I was asked by a major global company to represent their brand as a sales agent, meaning I got, for every sale that happened in Alberta and southern BC, my group, the company, were given a commission. So we worked 100% commission, and we, wow, you know, I'll have to tell you the story about the 6 scary suits. There was a big supplier, and the supplier, they called me, and I was so excited because not only did I get the line, but I got all of Alberta. It was only half of Alberta originally, and they gave me all of Alberta and southern BC.
Amazing.
I was so excited. I thought they were really excited too, but they weren't. No, no,
Oh
no, they weren't. And I go into this meeting and I'm so stoked and I'm talking to them and they're asking me questions and I can tell from the body language and the tone that this isn't going as well as I thought. Anyway, I got they said, well, we want you to make sure that you hire people from within the industry and da da da. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And then as I was leaving, they said, we really didn't want you. We wanted someone bigger with more experience
oh no, how
and with
heartbreaking.
existing lines. Yeah. Well, in that moment, and I think we all have those setbacks where inside we're dying. I mean, dying. I
Mm-hmm.
was. I was crushed. Like, and your confidence plummets, your self-esteem, the fear, like everything, the whole emotional chaos happens. And I just turned around with all the bravado I could, kind of, and said, before you judge me, just wait and see what I can do. And off I went. And I was determined. But of course, the first guy I hired, he quit before he even started. And then another guy, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. I had a nightmare trying to hire all these people. And finally, I just said, you know what? I am done hiring somebody else's person. I'm just going to go with my gut. Go with my gut. Another life lesson there, gang.
Hmm.
Go with my gut and hire who I feel is right. So I went out and I hired a number of women, actually, and a young gentleman who had just gotten out of university and had a baby. Didn't have a ton of sales experience, but they had the attitude and they worked hard and they wanted to learn. And that's kind of what became the basis of my Selling Made Simple program, because I had to teach them right from the ground up how to do this stuff. And guess what? Within 4 years, we had a 280% increase. We're talking tens of millions of dollars.
Amazing.
And because of that, I won the RBC Women Entrepreneur of Canada nomination. Yeah. So that was, but it wasn't all me. It was them. They were phenomenal, and how blessed was I to have such a great team. Yeah.
Well, those type of comments always come from a fabulous leader in
Uh,
acknowledging the team before yourself. So, you know what? It's the entire team and you at the front of the pack as well.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
please make
I
sure you soak that one in.
Well, okay. I'm just thrilled because they're all super, super successful. Like
Mm,
to this day, they're super successful. They're either the most sought after reps or they own their own companies or run their own company. Like it's really big. Yeah, it's really exciting to see how much,
that's
how far.
amazing success when we can facilitate the success of others
Hmm.
and be on the sidelines just watching them shine.
Yeah, that's the thrill of it.
It
That's
is.
I think that's the win. That yeah, that's everything. It really is. That's everything.
So on the other side of success,
Hmm.
it's like that iceberg where the success is just the peak, but the struggle you don't see underneath, but it's there, and it's
Oh, it's there.
there.
It's there. It's
And
there.
so, what would be the most significant struggle you've experienced over all of your years as a woman in business,
Ah,
as a salesperson? Hearing I'm sure
mhm.
100 no's before you get a yes. what what was your most significant struggle, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I've had a lot of struggles for sure. When I was a horrible, my first job, I was a horrible rep. And I would, oh my gosh. You get so many notes. I was selling these time clocks where you stick the card in and it tells what time, so the employer knows if you're late or not, and
Hmm.
they can pay payroll. And I was so bad to the point that I would lie. I went into the office, I'd shuffle paper, and then I'd say, "Oh, I'm off to do my sales calls." I had taken it personally. I had taken so much dejection and rejection, the no's. Those time clocks weren't something that sold every year, like every 10, 20 years kind of thing, right? But I let it get to me, and the fear overtook me, and I was just stifled. I would go home and sit on my couch all day. And I think that, that's why I believe so wholeheartedly that we cannot we cannot take the dejection of sales come personal, and we also need to get over that fear. So I really focus on that stuff because I know how awful it is. I mean, I was lying to myself, I was lying to my company, my and I let my integrity go, my values go. I mean, there's nothing worse, right? There's nothing worse. And so that was one thing. And then I guess the other big one was before I had the scuba diving incident. Remember I was telling you about bonking out in the head? I had
Hmm.
another bonk on the head, but I didn't quite listen to that one either. And what happened then was I was going out to the gym one morning because that's what I was doing.
Hmm.
And I tripped over my 120-pound dog in the dark. And as I came over, I hit a high hit. I kind of tweaked one of my high heel shoes. It came up, I came down, and I impaled the bottom of my foot with my heel.
No,
I
ouch.
broke every bone across the top of my foot. I ripped all the ligaments and tendons holding my toes to the midfoot. I know I do it big when I do it. It was 2.5 years it was 7 months, no walking, no weight bearing, no
Oh,
driving, 6 months of therapy, two surgeries. I mean, it was just brutal physically, but emotionally, what it was, of course, I wasn't working as a result of that, and I was crushed. Who was I without success? I'd been top
Mm,
performer at every company I ever worked for, and I kind of let my ego get in the way too. I think, my ego had kind of gotten a little big, and sometimes you need to get knocked down. And so it was really tough. Who was Jackie, without success? And that was a long, hard journey. That was a real struggle for me. It really
yeah.
was. Yeah.
How did you pull out of that? It's like not only just it's a life evaluation, really, the
Mhm.
definition of success, and it's different
Mhm.
for everybody. So what strategies did you use to come back to where you are today?
Hmm. Well, at first I did what I called turtling. I just stayed at
Hmm.
home and, well, I couldn't go anywhere. But even after that, I was embarrassed. I was ashamed that I lost my job. I, oh my gosh, I did everything, to be honest. I did therapy, like counseling. I read books. I listened to people. I think there's some really great people out there that can really help. And then I actually, you know what I did? I made my world very, very small, and I identified the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. And believe me, when you go from being, king of the castle or queen of the castle and to being virtually, nothing, almost, you know, you really find out who your friends really are. And so I really began to understand the difference between friend and acquaintance.
Hmm.
And then of course the scuba diving incident happened. That was another kick to, that was the message, right? You haven't been listening. You've been blessed. You're wasting it. Get out there. And so yeah, lots of stuff happened, but it was a long 2.5 year journey. It really was.
Hmm.
I considered that one hitting bottom. I really did. That's how I felt emotionally. Um, yeah, and the universe has bigger plans for us sometimes. Thank goodness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure you certainly strengthened your resilience muscle,
Oh,
which
that.
is probably critical
Yeah.
when you're a woman in business and or a leader or someone in sales. That resilience and being able to deal with rejection, I think that's one of the number one fears about selling and owning our own businesses and getting our product to market and just even talking to people about what we do.
Right.
It's that fear of rejection.
Well, one, like I said, I realized that I couldn't take rejection and dejection personally. And two, I equate it to going into a shoe store. So let me ask you, Michelle, when you go into a shoe store, do you like every pair of shoes on the shelf?
Oh, I'm a bit of a shoe girl, so tough question, but not all of them. Not all
Right.
of them. I'd say, probably 80% I would want to take home with me.
Well, and that's the answer to selling. Not
Mhm.
everyone's going to like you either, right? And once I discovered that, I think as women, we're kind of raised, oh, everyone has to like you, and you're less than if you aren't liked by everybody. And I think some of the lessons, I don't know if it's age, what it is, but that was a big lesson for me that I had to learn. It was okay not to have everybody like me personally, and it was okay to not have them like, my particular product, service, pair of shoes, whatever that was. And so I think those were really big lessons. And to sometimes learn that, when people aren't exactly nice and it happens, that's their issue. It's not me. I didn't really do anything to deserve it. That, sometimes it's kind of like, when someone's kicking the can, sometimes we're the can. It's not the can that they're mad at, it's the other stuff, that's going on in their world. So I think those were probably the three biggest lessons that I learned. Yeah.
Amazing. And I
Mm.
know that part of your teaching at Rainmakers is that building that confidence. And
Mm.
that's what I like to say that, my members get through WOW is the 4 C's: clarity, confidence, community, and cash flow. So it's
Good. That's really good. Yeah.
right. So it's
Yeah.
that It's that confidence to stand up and go, you know what? I am really good at what I do,
Mhm.
and I have a great product, and showcase that solution. But when we're thinking about the sales industry, it
Mhm.
has changed radically since what I used to call the sham wow days.
The wow,
The
yes.
sham wow days versus the natural resilience and almost defensiveness of the consumer now. So when you're looking at sales, especially for women in business, what's one thing that we need to, I guess, get over ourselves to step into that role of showcasing what we do?
Well, I think there's actually two things.
Hmm.
One is letting go of the fear that you just have to take action, just do it. You know, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. Again, if you don't take it personally, it's not going to bother you. You know, it's a numbers game that, you know, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. If you kind of keep that mindset, you'll be okay. And I think the other thing is training, sales training. A lot of people wing it. They try to go out there and, you know, personality and charm. When the economy was strong, that worked because people, you know, they were just impulsively buying. We all buy on emotion and justify with logic, and people were just willy-nilly buying. But things have changed, and being good at what you know, knowing your service or your product, right now it's not enough. And I'm finding that even in the corporate world, there are a lot of, you know, professionally trained salespeople who are just struggling because things have changed, and they've changed dramatically. You've got a lot more competition out there than we ever did before. You know, now with the pandemic and everything, we're remote selling and social selling. Social selling has become the new cold calling. Like, everybody needs to be online. And how do you stand out from all that noise that's out there, you know? So there's a lot of stuff. And we are very risk tolerant. If you've ever been to a timeshare presentation,
Oh,
right? It's like, oh, they're the epitome of bad selling. Like, no,
yes.
no offense, timeshare industry, but that pressure, right? That pressure to get you to buy when it's not even necessarily something you want. That's
Mhm.
the old stereotype. That's what makes it really tough. And, you know, or even in a furniture store. Have you ever been in a furniture store and had someone say, "Oh, and how may I help you today? What are you looking for?" And you go, "Oh, I'm fine." Even though you know you need to buy a couch, or you know you're looking for something, our automatic reaction is, "Oh no, it's okay, talk to the hand," right? Like, leave me alone.
Absolutely.
Because we fear what's going to happen. And I think, you know, if you look at any other, you know, a doctor, lawyer, a massage therapist, everybody goes to school. But in sales, we don't. And
Mm.
I think we need to. I really do, because knowing those processes will make you much more successful, much more successful. And even for, you know, corporate people that are out there, there's a shift. There's a shift back to the fundamentals of selling and, yeah, and doing it well. So
I love that. Absolutely. Get training.
get training.
Get training.
You just can't wing it. You know, people just throw everything out there hoping that something's gonna stick to the wall, and, you know, hopefully the person's gonna buy. But unfortunately, you know, there aren't as many sales opportunities, so we need to kind of, you know, get better at the ones we have. We cannot afford to lose them.
I
Yeah.
love that. The
Mm.
industry has changed so much from the 1950s commercials. We used to, be shown whether we liked it or not, to the point where I'm going to date myself, the VCR came out. And consumers started having a little bit of control about whether they fast forwarded through the ads or not, which was the
Yeah.
coolest thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the PVR and now streaming. Netflix, people have cut off their cable and moved to Netflix because there's no commercials there. Or go to apps now. Global has an app, CTV has an app where we can, contain the advertising, and anything that we do now that looks like an ad, either socially or in a magazine, you flip through the first 10 pages to get to the article that you want to read.
Hmm.
It's almost like we avoid it, and like the proverbial plague.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the industry changing and where you started and where you are now, what's been the biggest adjustment that you've had to make to accommodate consumer behavior?
Well, I hate technology, just saying.
Hmm.
I'll put that out there. And as an entrepreneur, you have to know it all, right? Like all of the software. Anyway, I think the biggest thing that's changed is, besides this technology, is the word of mouth test,
Mm.
word of mouth referral. That people do not trust. Society has the lowest trust levels in the history of the world. We've had some horrible, horrible things happen over the last few decades, 9/11 and terrorism and shootings and all that stuff. People just don't trust. And you're right, they don't trust the ads. They don't trust the magazines. They don't trust, oh, this is the latest and greatest and you should buy it. No, who they trust is friends and family
Hmm.
and reviews online, really, really important. So if you are in business, you should be getting referrals and testimonials. That's your focus, because that's what's going to keep a lot of your business coming in and keeping that those continual customers walking through the door for you, for sure. It's all about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know that even online reviews, I think the statistics are
Oh,
that, and you mention it in your book as well, over 90% of people will see if you have reviews and recommendations online before
yes.
they even pick up the phone to call you or check out your website.
Well, and we all go, ooh, if it's 3 stars, forget it. We don't even look at it, right? It's got to be a 4 or 5 star before we even look. And then the algorithms for Google, what they'll do is they actually, if there is a bad review, they will make sure that at least one bad review is there so that you can, yeah, I know, so that you can see it, right? It's
Google, shame on you.
no, well, it's true, but people
Hmm.
want to see the good and the bad, and the first
Hmm.
thing we go to is that bad one. So we can judge for ourselves, That's the important thing. Yeah, yeah, we all do it, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's a
That's
restaurant going out to eat or buying something or, Amazon, whatever. We're all checking reviews. So it's important for you as a business owner to make sure that your Google page is up to date, to make sure that you're getting customer testimonials, that your LinkedIn page is filled with recommendations, and all of those things really, really matter. And asking for referrals. That is huge. One of the biggest mistakes that small business owners make is that we assume, so if I tell you, hi, I introduce myself and I'm a realtor, then I assume that you are going to go out next time you know someone that needs a realtor, that you're going to tell them, oh, I met this great lady, Jackie. Well, guess what? It doesn't happen. And the
mm-mm.
reason it doesn't happen is because we're in right brain when we're having conversation. When you say, who do you know? Not do you know, yes or no, not a closed-ended question, but open-ended. Who do you know that might be interested, in buying or selling a home? All of a sudden we're like, and you start to think, which logs it in the left side of your brain so that it is in the memory portion of your analytic side of the brain. Months down the road, someone might say, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about selling my house, because it's in the memory side, they remember.
I
So,
love it. And what a simple tweak to your messaging. And
huge.
and
Yeah.
and when we're all asking for our valued clients to refer us, just that one little tweak.
Mhm.
And I'm a little bit of a brain science geek when it comes to neuroplasticity and metacognition and all of those kind of things. I love those little tweaks that can really have a long-term impact. Like, who do you know?
True. Who do you
And
know? Because that'll make all the difference in the world, and especially after you have a happy customer, right? And
mm-hmm.
asking for those testimonials. That's a big one too. Your LinkedIn page should be filled with them. Everything. You should have testimonials everywhere. You should have a page. I have to tell you a story. Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I
So
love
there was,
stories.
okay, we had moved into our villa. We have a villa. So we moved in, like yeah. Anyway, it's a condo. And we moved in there in a new part of town, and we were going away on holidays. Yeah, well, you can tell that was a year or two ago.
Yeah.
But we had 2 little dogs, and I was interested in having someone look after my dogs. And I'd met someone, And I liked her, and I said, she was a dog sitter and house sitter. So I asked her, BJ from Paws, Pads, and Plus. Anyway, BJ came over, and I'd never met this really that, just on a very minimal basis. She comes in, she sits down, she gets down on the floor. My dogs go running to her, which in itself is huge because I've got
Mhm.
a Prozac puppy that's scared of everything. Anyway, then she gets up and she's got a binder. And in this binder, she opens it up and she says, okay, so these are my services. And she said, this is my certification for dog CPR. And she's flipping the page. It's a binder with the plastic lined pages, right? Where she
Mhm.
stuffed them in. And these are my customer testimonials. And she's flipping through and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is, I was so I immediately booked her, and my dogs love her to this very day. They always get excited when she comes over. But, those testimonials, it's just that's the proof. It's social proof. That's where the trust comes in. We can believe somebody else, but we're not going to believe those ads. We're not going to believe the person that's telling, BJ told me, oh, I'm the best dog sitter and house sitter. I mean, I had a stranger staying in my home. Like that's the risk, right? A
Yeah,
stranger.
you betcha.
And well, yeah, virtually.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we remember that it really is, what we say isn't as important as what other people say about us.
That is the absolute truth, and I know that when working with my clients as well, we I call it developing an army of advocates.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can sit here, Jackie, and say, you know what? I'm the best international business consultant for women, worldwide. But
Yeah,
coming out of my mouth, it's absolute garbage.
right.
Whether it's the truth or not, it's garbage. But coming out of my client's mouth, it's golden. So knowing the difference.
Priceless. Priceless.
Hmm.
And it's kind of interesting too. Women are much more likely to give you a referral than men. Men tend to be a little, hold back a little more. And that could be based on personality, style, and colors, right? Because
Oh, you're talking to my language.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Blues tend to really give referrals, and a lot
Hmm.
of women are blue. So they're, yeah, we support each other, which is a great thing, and we support small business, which is another great thing. We
Hmm.
should be doing more of
Absolutely.
that, right? Especially these days. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I love that you integrate colors into your sales training
Yeah.
and really focus in on honing in on what I call the MVC, most valuable client.
Mhm.
So, and identifying what do they need for their personality, because we
Yeah.
all need something different. And as a fellow colors facilitator, I eat and breathe that stuff. So would you share a little bit about how you've integrated that
Sure.
color system into sales?
Okay. Well, as you know, everyone's trying to increase their sales
Hmm.
and everyone's trying to do it faster because time is a more important factor now than money. It really is. I know for me, I'm very protective of my time and will pay someone to reduce, right, what's on my plate. And so I think it's the same for everybody. And I know we're all looking for a competitive advantage. Colors is that advantage. I'm telling you, all my clients that take it, at first they're like, but once they take this course, they are blown away by the advantage. And, it's a combination of improved communication skills, improved emotional intelligence, which, by the way, is what everyone's looking for these days. All the top 500 Fortune 500 companies are looking for people with improved emotional intelligence. And then, of course, when you can easily identify the person by their color and then target in on what they need to make that, those motivators and triggers that will, prompt them to purchase, it's just amazing how well it works. Like it's amazing. Yeah.
I know when
And
I first did colors, it changed my life. It
yes.
changed my relationships with my husband and my children. And then in knowing how to ask the questions, helping identify, okay, who is the person sitting in front of me and what do they need? So when
Yes.
we talk about colors, we talk about orange and gold and green and blue.
Yes.
So those types of personalities and how each personality type needs something different.
Yes.
And so that is super exciting to envelope that into your training as
Right.
well.
It is.
So,
It is. Well, if you're looking for a competitive advantage, that's certainly it. Yeah.
absolutely.
If you're
So,
looking to fix your, not fix, but, improve your relationships, it's definitely a good one. Or
oh,
even, I use it a lot for team building because so often, I mean, think about big offices, right? You've got all these people that typically want nothing to do with each other, and they're forced to basically spend more time together than they do at home.
hmm.
And and everyone's in the big sandbox. You have to say, okay, everybody, now get along, play nice, right? So there's your
And
culture.
only one color actually likes the group hugs.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. True.
So yes, absolutely. I'm learning not only like I know that a lot of personality assessments teach us about who we are,
Yes.
which is wonderful to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
However, that only goes so far. And
Mm-hmm.
so learning the language of the other colors, especially when you're in that sales role, in that serving role, in that product development role of, okay, so now that I've spoken to my blues, because maybe that's my first color and I can go there easily, how would a green speak and how could I speak to a green this way? So
Well,
interesting.
yeah, that's it. How do you honor those colors? How do
Hmm.
you, work with them better? And I think that's what's so great about the whole thing is that they do take it that one step further. And how do you make your life better? How do you make your interactions with other people better? And from a sales point of view, I mean, it's all about building rapport and relationships, right? And doing it quickly. Again, we have very, very little time to make an impact and an impression. And so everything now, the stakes have really risen. We need to do it well and we need to do it fast. So
Absolutely.
yeah, colors certainly helps with relationship building. Yes.
So in the land of marketing, because marketing always has to come before the sale, it just is
Yeah.
what it is. It's like the
Yeah.
chicken and the egg, which came first. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, um, when you're thinking about marketing to reach the person that will invite you into a conversation to talk about how your product might be a solution to their needs or desires,
Hmm.
what would be your best marketing tip for, my amazing wow audience?
Your amazing wow audience. Well, okay, I'll tell you what not to do first.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want to do is meet someone and then say, hey, let's go for coffee, because they know what's coming and they will say no. It's
Sure.
just an automatic thing. If it's online, you don't want to be reaching out and saying, hey, this is my product, and doing what I call a product dump. Oh, this is why my product's so great, feature benefit, blah, blah, blah. What, selling has changed. It has dramatically changed. It takes longer to get a sale than ever before. In the past, it might have been 3 or 4 interactions. Now it's 8 to 12 interactions. So, my advice is be patient and take the time to provide value first. In terms of, instead of taking, hey, you should have an appointment with me, you want to be giving. And so I call that the warm up and the warm up call. If you're online, it's about, hey, I've got the, like I do 3 tips a day, sales tips a day on LinkedIn. Here's some valuable sales tips. I know everyone's looking to increase sales. This is just my little way of helping out. Please follow if you're interested. And when you give, then they start to recognize you, and then they see your posts, and then they see you again, and then you might give something else. And it's about serving others. It's about giving value and really focusing on that and warming them up so that they see you, they recognize you, they kind of know who you are and what you are about before you pick up that phone and say, hey, let's go. Would you be interested in a 15-minute, non-committal type meeting? And yeah, that's the key to it. Or going to an event, a woman's group, like, and
Mm-hmm.
meeting people, and instead of trying to sell your product, just get to know them. It's about that relationship, rapport and relationship. Just get to know them, find out about them, and ask lots of questions. It's the old Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, it was written decades ago, but it's still the most important book, I think, in selling. And it really is. The more you ask people about them, the more they get talking, the more they're going to like you. So if you haven't read the book, you should. It's a good one.
I love that book. It is.
Love
We're
Carnegie.
both
Yeah.
dating ourselves on this one. So tell me about the development of Rainmaker solution. Where did you start? And where are you now? And what type of services do you offer?
Ah, thanks. Well, how did I start? Oh my goodness gracious. I started with going to the lawyer and getting a company. Started with the logo. What else did I do? I, like many women, suffered from the imposter syndrome. It
Mm,
didn't matter that I was the top selling performer in every company I ever worked for. It didn't matter I had RBC Entrepreneur. What mattered was I felt I wasn't good enough. And, we have that confidence gap. When Sheryl Sandberg talks about it in her book Lean In, she talks about how, if a man, say there's a job, right, that's available, a man will take it if he knows 60%. He'll just fudge it and kind of, make up for it. A woman feels
sure.
they have to be 90% sure that they can fill the job before they'll even apply for it. And I call that the confidence gap. And I suffered from that tremendously, but in my mind too, I needed to have the certifications behind me to make sure and the knowledge behind me so that I could be the absolute best at providing for my clients, not just from a sales point of view, but from a business realm. So I took Train the Trainer. How do adults learn? What's the best way for adult learning, right? What are the different ways that you can teach so that just like personalities, we're different learner types too. So I did that. What else did I do? I became the advanced facilitator for colors because I thought that was very cool. I did leadership and management. Oh, I did it all. Anyway, I did
Don't
all
forget to
that.
follow Jackie on LinkedIn for the entire
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, it's like big. Anyway, but again, if I look at it, I was doing it because of the imposter syndrome, because I didn't think I was good enough. And that makes me sad now. And it makes me sad because I know I wasn't alone. I know that there are lots of women and we still have, I still have those moments of insecurity and fear. And I think we all do, but we have to talk to ourselves through it so that we can do different things. And yeah, so I started off just doing training, basic training. Now I do, oh my goodness, now I do virtual sales kickoff. I kind of speak at the beginning of sales meetings
Mm-hmm.
for people. I do, of course, the online stuff, which, right? I speak everywhere. That's, one of my big things. I love speaking on stage. I do the corporate training. I do entrepreneurs because I've worked corporate and entrepreneurs. So I do that. I mean, it just never ends. I'm big on LinkedIn, and this is a note to everybody. Whatever your product or service is, you should be putting it out there. Whether Facebook is your forum or LinkedIn is your forum, be posting consistently. That's the key. And it does take a lot. I call this thing toilet time. I know it's bad, but you know,
Everybody does it. We just don't want
we
to admit it.
well, as wives, as mothers, we have so much more on our plate than simply just going to promote our business every day. And so I think, we have to make the most of our time where we can and how we can. But really, it's all about getting out online and being consistent in what you do and getting out there so that people do start to recognize you. When they think of you, they think of your product and service. When they think of their product and service, they think of you. That's what's really important these days. So, get out there and again, talk about what's in it for the customer. Don't be talking about what's in it for you. Unfortunately, I see that a little too often. It's about what is it about, what is your customer going to get from this product or service and why is it so great? What's in it for them? Yeah.
I love that. You
Mhm.
mentioned being a mom, being a grandma now.
Yeah.
Congratulations, being a
Thank
wife, and having that toilet time of like peace and quiet. This is the only minute that I get to do, my LinkedIn post. And no, we're not doing it live. But thinking about as a woman in business with all the multitude of hats that you have,
Mm.
what does work-life balance look like? And I know there's a
Mhm.
horrible B word called burnout. So how did you avoid burnout and balance your life as you built Rainmaker Business Solutions?
Well, I don't think I quite have it down perfectly yet. But there are a few things that I've done. One, I get up early in the morning and get my work stuff done so that I do have time to, you know, if it's on a weekend or whatever. And I'm trying not to work on weekends now. That's a big thing too. Having limits and boundaries to your time. I guess that's it. I also do what I call chunk block and tackle your time so that I allocate certain chunks to different things. And I make sure that, from here to here, I do this. I make sure that I'm getting up every 45 minutes just to walk around and refresh and kind of, I focus on the top three things of the day. What are those top three things that I absolutely have to get done? Because I don't know about you guys, I get overwhelmed, like
Hmm.
major overwhelm. What they say the average person gets 122 emails a day. We look at our email 46 times a day. Are you kidding me? Like it's crazy. So I try to put limits and boundaries around that. Um, During the summer, my husband, I encourage him to go golfing in the morning so that I can work, right? Like
Hmm.
it's,
You
yeah.
know, it's what all us wives do, or all our partners do. It's like, yes, absolutely, you go and enjoy yourself, and don't worry about me. I got it. So it really is about, oh, good, now I can get some stuff done.
Well, and we have internal agreements, yeah.
Hmm.
Like, okay, well, what time are you working till today, right? Or when can we go do this? And I have to kind of, you know, I'm a I'm a workaholic. Let's face it. That's my natural tendency. I think it's the whole boomer thing. We were raised that way. I've learned a lot from my grown children. My son is constantly on me. Mom, it's not about that anymore. Like I think people knock these millennials, but I think they've got it figured out. They know, they've seen their parents really not do a great job. Sometimes I'll just say that. Not
Hmm.
everybody, I'm generalizing, but I know for me, I was work, work, work. And, I think it's important that you do have that life balance. Have I perfected it? I'd be lying if I told you I had. Do I, my cure-all is getting up in the morning. But I also recognize when I'm having those low energy days, I nurture those low energy days because
Hmm.
you can't be on all the time. On those low energy days, just take it easy, get stuff done, keep going, but respect it because if you don't, you're going to end up getting sick, which isn't going to help anybody.
No, that's very true. Acknowledging you'll have highs and lows, and I gotta say, I have been known to have a workaholic personality myself, with
Mm-hmm.
tendency to burn out. It's
Yeah.
that go 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 crash, go 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 crash,
Mhm.
and now finally in my 50th year of living, finally realizing what's important and making time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I owned the sales agency, I actually got adrenal fatigue and
Mm,
it's not good. When your body starts screaming at you, you need to pay attention. And I get, with the whole scuba diving, I listen to everything a lot more. My body, my intuition, my gut feeling, my, things that are happening around me. I listen to anything and everything. I'm probably obsessed the other way now, but no, I think, you've got to listen to your body for sure. It's, you know, compromise your health, you've got nothing, right?
Absolutely. You certainly don't have a business if you
Yeah,
don't have your health. Number
exactly.
one. So what is, of all the things that you've learned, and I say that because of all the things that you've learned as you've built your amazingly successful sales training business
Mm-hmm.
and impacted so many lives,
Thanks.
to the women who are, you know, I would say within the first 5 years
Ah,
of their adventure. And
mm-hmm.
you remember what the first 5 years looked like. The
Yeah.
first 5 years, what piece of advice would you give that woman in the first 5 years of her business?
My brother said this to me. It was funny. When we were kids, my brother always wanted to be the entrepreneur, and I always wanted to be the big corporate person. And it's funny, he's VP of this big company, and I'm, the entrepreneur. So it's kind of, yeah, yeah. What you wish for doesn't necessarily happen. You have a
Mm-hmm.
path, whatever it is. He gave me some great advice when I started. I didn't believe him at first, but I do believe him now. I can say that. The first year you sleep, the second year you creep. The third year you leap. If you make it to 5, you should survive. It took me a lot longer than I wanted, a lot longer than I expected.
Mhm.
It took a lot more work than I ever anticipated. But then again, I have this little saying that I picked up. Entrepreneurs do what most people won't,
Mhm.
so they can live life like most people don't. And I truly, I truly live by that. It's entrepreneurs that will have the big reward in the end, but it takes a lot more than I ever thought it would. I never thought on my journey that it would, that it, yeah, that it would be that. I don't know. I don't know what I had in my mind, but thank you, Greg.
And I love the acronyms. The first year you sleep, the second year you creep. So, could you dive into that a little bit more for me?
Well, at least for me, I found the first year I was just getting organized. I needed the
Mhm.
classes, I needed to kind of figure out where I was going, what I was doing. Who was I going to target? How was I going to get there? All of those fundamental questions about your business and starting your business and, getting your business cards and your logo and all your stuff. And, that takes a lot. The second year, I think you creep along in terms of, yeah, quite, I guess, I don't know, maybe I just didn't have it nailed. I
Mhm.
just didn't have it nailed. And so that was a bit of an issue for me. And maybe that's why it took longer than I ever anticipated. I don't know. I think that you can work with people that can really help you get through a lot of these stages faster. Technology and it has been a real struggle for me because I'm not, like, I'm not one of those, right? I don't have that aptitude. I mean, I'm getting better and I'm pretty good now, but it took a lot of learning
Mhm.
along the way. And I think as a business owner, yeah, it took a while. It takes a while to get out there, to get known, to build a reputation, to get those referrals and to get those testimonials behind you, which are, like I said, absolutely critical, vital in your business today. That's the first thing you want to go after. If, and get someone from your past if you have to, get someone talk about what a great person you are, about how you believe in your values and you're one of those people that follows through or whatever it is, or whatever it is you want to be getting them. Yeah. Oh, what else happened? Year 3. It just seems like a blur, right? It seems
Mhm.
it's like everything. It feels like it just started yesterday, yet sometimes it feels like I've been doing this forever, but I think, yeah, you're not going to get rich overnight. You're not. It doesn't happen. It takes dedication, discipline, hard work, and passion. You have to have passion for what you're doing. If you don't, you're going to throw in the towel because it is all about this. It's the roller coaster. And on those lows, if you don't know what your why is, if you don't know what your passion is or why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to throw in the towel. And it takes incredible discipline and perseverance to keep going. Yeah.
Amazing. That is fantastic advice. Absolutely, it is. And I'm so glad that your resilience muscle grew. You listened to the message in how you'll impact the world, and you persevered to be successful and be well known across North America, not only just for what you do in your sales training, but for also being a fabulous Amazon top selling author. So this is the golden ticket for sure, ladies.
Yeah.
To get your copy of, let me see here, the Badass Guide to Super Selling. Now, who doesn't want that? Fantastic. Jackie, how can the WOW community and anyone watching this video
Mhm.
reach out to you, get a hold of you, find out more about your services and what you offer?
The website, of course, LinkedIn. I'm all over. Just put linkedin.ca, Jackie Rainforth.
Hmm.
The website, rainmakersgroup.ca. So it's plural with the S, rainmakersgroup.ca. You can, yeah, and on there, all my information's there. So you can, call me, email me, whatever. If you're having issues, let me know. I can help. Follow on LinkedIn. I do have 3 tips a day that really, people like them. And yeah, who knew? Who knew? I mean, I never, it's funny, hey, how things get started and you don't know why and why you're going down this path and how it happens, but all of a sudden you turn around and poof, it's there. It's kind of cool,
And
There
there
were
you
lots of
are.
times there were lots of times I was like, I'm throwing in the towel. I can't do this, right? And this is too much work. And then all of a sudden you turn around one day and it's like, how'd that happen? How'd that happen? You just keep going. That's it. You
Just
just
keep
keep
going.
going. Just keep climbing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Jackie, thank you so much for spending your time. Just like you, I think I value time more than money because
Yes.
it's our only non-renewable resource. And
Yes.
so thank you for spending this last 60 minutes. And I know that the information we've covered in this Secrets of Business Success interview will inspire many throughout the WOW VIP membership. So thank you
Mhm.
for your grace and your perseverance in helping others. I so appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been great. And you have an amazing group of women. Amazing group of women. It's been lots of fun.